A lot of great comic books getting ready to come out next week, so you're not going to want to miss my top 10 most anticipated comics of the week. All my webheads out there, welcome back to Comic Book Corner 2.0 and fans. I'm your host, Mike Spider Slayer, getting ready to bring you my top 10 most anticipated comics of the week. And guys, these comics are being released on January 22nd, 2020. That's right, fans. It's never too early to start your pull list for next week. And hopefully, I help you make decisions on what comic books to buy based off of my top 10 comics of the week. Now, before we get started, guys, if you want to be part of the Webhead family, it's pretty easy. All you got to do is subscribe to the channel, give it a thumbs up, and don't forget to hit the bell so you don't miss any content from me. So, guys, let's get started with this countdown, shall we? Now, before I hit number 10, I always like to talk about the book that's on the hot seat, a potential book that I'm thinking about dropping or maybe not even actually picking it up, but it is on my radar. So the book that's on the hot seat this week goes to Superman. This is issue 19. Now, this book, it deals with the aftermath of the reveal of Clark's secret identity, right? He let the whole world know that he is Clark Kent. So what are going to be the ramifications of this? Now, I truly dropped Superman for a long time, but the thing of the matter is when I found out that he was revealing his secret identity, even though this was done once before, I wanted to see how Michael Bendis' take on it was. So we'll see what happens with it going forward, but if it doesn't capture my attention, I'm going to drop this book as quick as I dropped it before, so we'll see what happens. All right, so moving on now officially to this countdown, we're going to go on to number 10. And number 10 this week goes to a milestone book, guys. This one is Wonder Woman. This is issue 750. Even if you're not reading Wonder Woman at this time, I feel like this is a book that you must pick up. There are loads of variant covers here, so pick the one that you want. I'm probably going to get the Art Germ one if it is available, but there's a ton of them. There's probably at least 10, and this book is 96 pages. It is $10. Now, the reason why this wasn't higher on my particular list was because I don't read the series too often, but it's a book that, you know, if you're a comic fan, you got to respect it, right? It's on issue 750. So it's a great milestone, a good book to have in your collection. And if you're a fan, this might be higher on your list. All right, so let's move forward now. Let's move forward to number 9. And number 9 this week, guys, goes to Captain Marvel. This is issue 14. I like this storyline that's called The Last Avenger, right? This is part 3 of this particular story arc, and it was cool because Captain Marvel had this fancy new suit. She took out Thor, she like chopped off its head, and you're kind of like, holy shit, what's going on? And then in the second issue, she winds up defeating Iron Man. But then you find out the whole plan, and it makes it kind of dumbs down the story a little bit. You know, Carol's trying to protect these young kids from her race, and she's forced to do his bidding, but she already has this plan in place to try to stop him and keep like all the people that she supposedly kills in the character named by Singularity, who is her own like entity or universe of her own. And I was kind of like, oh, why did you reveal the plot or the secret too early of what she was thinking? I would love to see more of this story on how she destroys all the other Avengers, and you don't know her motive until maybe towards the end here. So I was a little bit disappointed. However, the story is interesting, and I do want to see where it actually goes. And this book is $3.99. All right, moving on to number 8. Number 8 this week, guys, goes to Amazing Spider-Man. This is issue 38. The last issue, issue 37, was kind of a filler issue. Ryan Ottley was back on doing the artwork in here. And we got to see Spider-Man just not have enough time in his life. And he has this device that was created with a college peer. And it's a device that actually, I guess, helps him predict the future, and he can stop crimes before it happens. So he was able to spend some time with Mary Jane and get some much needed rest. At the end of the issue, we wind up seeing Kindred, who produces the Sin Eater once again, and it looks like he's going to have to do battle against this character. So I was like, okay, that's kind of cool. My thing with Nick Spencer's Amazing Spider-Man at this point is, when are we going to get the revelation of Kindred? Is it going to be at the end of his run and they'll do one final battle and that's it? I don't know, but I just feel like it's taking too long. It's too much of a stall to reveal this character. And I want Mary Jane truly back in the book again. And I just want Ryan Ottley to be on the book more often, as the artwork is a little bit disappointing when it constantly changes artists again. But nevertheless, the last issue was a decent issue, and we'll see what issue 38 has to offer here. All right, next, moving on to number 7, and the book that takes the number 7 spot this week, fans. This one goes to The Web of Venom, The Good Son, issue 1. Now, we've seen this Web of Venom books pop up here and there, and they're basically one-shots that tell stories about certain characters that are intertwining in Eddie Brock's life. And this time around, we have it has to do with the kids, Norman Osborn's kid and Dylan, which is Eddie Brock's new son. So basically, while Eddie Brock is away, we wind up seeing the kids play. I mean, that's basically what's happening here. And hopefully this will give us a little bit more insight of what's going on with Dylan, because I have a lot of questions that need to be answered when it comes to this particular character. And what is his role going to be in the Marvel Universe going forward here? And we got a little tidbit in the most recent Venom issue, but we didn't get very much. So I'm hoping that the Web of Venom, the Good Son issue 1, does a little bit more explaining here. All right, guys. And by the way, that book is a $5 book. All right, so moving on to number 6. And number 6 is an Image book, and this is done by Jeff Lemire, and this one is The Family Tree. This is issue 3. There's this weird apocalyptic thing that is going on when it comes to the family tree, right? People are like, I guess they're turning into trees, but you don't really notice that. But I think that's what's truly happening in this book. You just get to witness one girl basically turning into the tree, and you get to see her grandfather trying to save her. And I guess his son, or I guess his son actually turned into one of these tree-like people. Also, there's people on their tail trying to chase after them and whatnot. It makes for a pretty good, interesting title. Something very different. The artwork is pretty cool in it. And hey, if you love trees, you know, you might like this book. I mean, if you like Groot, you might like this book, because that's basically what they turn into here, right? So yeah, we'll see what happens with Family Tree issue 3. This book is $3.99. All right, next, we're moving on to number 5, and number 5 goes to the conclusion of Once and Future, right? This is the final issue. I think this is issue 6, and the world is in balance, guys, and Duncan must finally accept his role in the larger story, okay? So this is the conclusion to this. I think this has been a great story. This has been done by Boom Studios, and yeah, great artwork as well, guys. I'm very curious to see how this will end. I definitely suggest you guys, if you have not picked up Once and Future, it's only 6 issues. Wait for it to come out in trade. I bet it reads really well in trade, and I think you're going to really enjoy it, especially if you enjoy the Excalibur, storyline, right? So good. You'll have a lot of fun with this. All right, next, moving on to number 4. We're on Batman, Superman. This is issue 6, right? And here in the description, it says, the Secret Six may have met their match when they have faced the combined might of Superman and Batman. But don't count these infected heroes out yet. With the Batman who laughs freed from his prison at last, the clock is ticking for the Dark Knight and the Man of Steel to track down the escape Deathbringer. Sky Tyrant and King Shazam, Scarab, and the most tragic to Superman, his cousin Kara. So they're all going to do this battle. It looks like this story arc is about to wrap up. It's been a really fun story arc when it comes to Batman, Superman. I think if you haven't checked out this story arc, I'm sure there'll be a trade released eventually, but I'm pretty sure you might be able to still find issues 1 through 5 on the stands. Last I heard, this thing wasn't really selling out, but it is a good read. The artwork is good, and it's entertaining as well. And if you want to check in some of those tie-ins, you could, but I wouldn't recommend them. There's some of them that are okay, but they're not they're not great. All right. Moving on to number 3, and number 3 this week, guys, goes to Batman issue 87. So Batman's back, right? I can honestly say that Batman issue 86 was a good book, as we get to see Batman doing battle against Deathstroke and going against all these other villains that are trying to invade Gotham, and Batman has this grand village for Gotham and stuff like that, and it was interesting, and I thought one of the touching moments in that book was that Batman still thinks Alfred's on the other side, and he caught himself asking for Alfred, and Lucius Fox took his spot. So now we get to see Lucius Fox, build his technology for him and guide him in the right direction. Whether or not Alfred is continuing to stay dead, we'll see. But I thought with Tynion IV's writing in this book and the artwork done by Tony S. Daniel, I think they're a great team, and I think this will be a solid Batman book for a few years to come if they decide to keep with this team. All right, moving on to number 2, and it's another Bat book, guys. This is the Batman, the White Knight. This is book 6. In the last issue, we got to see Azrael. He's trying to take the mantle of Batman. He grabs this Batman-like suit. He went into Arkham. He was basically destroying everybody's, all the villains of Batman, and then he comes to Joker, and that's kind of how the issue ended. So where does it pick up from there, right? This is a great book. The story by Sean Murphy is absolutely phenomenal. You're not going to want to miss this. Again, I'm sure this will come out in trade if you have. It's a great read. The artwork is also done by Sean Murphy, and he's coming out with a volume 3, and you can expect a Black Cat series by Sean Murphy as well, where he's going to do the artwork, and Blake Northcutt she's actually doing the writing for that. So look forward to that as well. So yeah, great stuff when it comes to whole White Knight universe, right? In general, it's just so much fun to read, and I feel like it's like, Sean Murphy can play in this sandbox and he can do whatever he wants. So yeah, don't miss out on this, guys. This is a great read. All right, and next, number 1 on my list this week, my most anticipated for January 22nd, 2020, and I don't know if I said 2020 earlier or 2019. I'm still freaking trying to adjust to the new year, but my number 1 goes to Guardians of the Galaxy issue 1, okay? I'm really excited for this particular book. I think Donny Cates did a great job on the story that he had to tell, and I think he only wanted to tell one story, and it was 12 issues long, and it was a great read, but I think Al Ewing here is going to be the writer that's in the long haul, okay, for this particular title, and I'm very much looking forward to it. It looks like Rocket's back on here, and let me read the description to you. Now, this book is $4.99, but in case you don't know what this volume is going to be about, here it is. Once they were a team of misfits. Now they're a family, and they've earned their peace. But the universe is not a peaceful place. and it's only getting worse. The great empires are
in turmoil, the rule of law is dead, and in the midst of chaos, the gods of Olympus have returned. Harbingers of a new age of war reborn to burn their marks on the stars themselves. Someone has to guard the galaxy, but who will accept the mission, and who will they survive it? Al Ewing,
Immortal Hulk, and Juan Cabal, which does the Friendly Neighborhood Spider-Man, bring you on the ground floor of a whole Marvel universe of action and suspense. Now, the artist I thought was okay on Friendly Neighborhood Spider-Man when that series first came out, so I'm a little weary on that. But again, Al Ewing's writing is absolutely amazing, and I'm looking forward to this. So there was this description. Sorry if it was a little lengthy, but I wanted you guys to get an idea of what that one was about. So there you have it, guys. There are my top 10 most anticipated comics of the week. Now in the comments section below, fans, I want to know what your top 10 most anticipated comics of the week are, or maybe your top 5, your number 1, and that's it, guys. That's all I have for you. So as always, like I said, like, subscribe, and don't forget to hit the bell. And fans, you've been watching Comic Book Corner 2.0, and this is Mike Spider Slayer signing off. Take care, everyone.